Thank you. I had to get something. Um, First of all, here's a brochure of my three books. On the first, on the outside, is the cover of the first book, Brooklyn Odyssey. It's a kid sitting on a scroll, and behind him are the dreams, which is dreams about America, dreams about an education, and dreams about theater. So, and of course, he's starry-eyed, and that's his scroll of whatever the hell he's going to do in his lifetime and write, though he didn't know that as a kid. But here are the three books. Brooklyn Odyssey. Armand Assante has a tremendous, I'll read it in a second. Tonight I Won't Be Acting, I read you the end of that. And Not for Profit. Let me just say that Not for Profit is continues to be anecdotes of theaters that I directed all through the United States and Canada, etc., with many of the best people in the world. But it also has to do with corruption, because I was one of those people you elect. You just elect. If I get up to go to the bathroom, when I come back, I find out I've just been voted in as the president of the committee, and somehow I now have a new obligation. A week later, when I discover some form of little corruption, and it was never huge, but I'm a stickler for taxpayer money, and since we were talking about not-for-profit industry, I would always be trying to correct it, and everybody would try to shut me up. And what's worse is eventually try to block me from working, because you can't shut me up. I think you'll find that out. So anyhow, in book one, Armand Assante has a tremendous statement. He says Brooklyn Odyssey by legendary American theater director Tony Giordano must be made into a film. It is the rite of passage story concerning a young man's development amidst a hard-working, honest Italian-American family in the 50s, wonderfully eccentric, funny, and tender. And if you go up on Amazon and look at what people have been saying, they're all saying the same thing that I heard at the reading. This is amazing to me because, really and truthfully, I honestly just wanted to tell a simple story, and I think I did. And I'm trying to encourage you to realize that if you read it, and as I said, don't read it because you think it's going to help you, because it's not. What it might help you do is realize that you have a story. It's hard for me to believe you don't. Second of all, the people who have responded to the reading we did, to the reading that they do when they buy the books on Amazon, both the hard copy or the Kindle, and the comments they leave behind, plus a lot of people who have bought them, and I know directly some of their, it's amazing the response people have had. So I kept thinking something is wonderful, but maybe odd. And then, of course, in the end of 2014, the screenplay won two certificates as finalists, one from the Los Angeles Movie Awards and the other from the New York Screenwriters Contest. And then I thought, wow, that's amazing. Those people don't know me and I don't know them. More often than not, most of them must be fairly young because they're on these committees. And yet this script that I've written is very old-fashioned. It's really people. It's a people story. It's just the kind of people, a lot of humor, a lot of drama, no tragedy, but a lot of drama. And it's a journey of a little boy as to whether he is going to be able, because it's the odd thing about it, there's no villain. The journey is that the family have a certain structure that if he stays with it, it will hurt his life. So will he figure that out in time, and will he be able to do anything about it before it's too late? That's really kind of what the journey is all about. And it takes a while before we get into that, because first you got to get to know the world and the family. And the characters in it are really great. People love them, by the way. Everybody loves these characters for some strange reason. So what I did finally in my lifetime was I wrote about it. And now that I see that everybody's so interested in it, and of course now there's a possibility that there may someday be a movie version of it that I would direct, I think it's really obviously worth your time. As I said, if you go to it for the right reason. At first, however, you can go on Amazon and read the first, I don't know, 5 pages or so that you have a sense of whether this is the kind of writing you're interested in or not. Before you buy anything, it's a good idea if you would take time to figure it out. So in any case, the fact that I've always been interested in the activity of human beings has led me to a conclusion. And the conclusion is that man has power to become a fully realized human being. Now, you might say, well, of course, you already told us that he was born. No, I don't believe that we're born as fully realized human beings. I believe that that requires at least the first rite of passage so that we can get our feet planted firmly under us while we begin to make a decision as to who we are and what we want. And then we have to go through varying rites of passage with the society before perhaps we develop into fully realized human beings. The journey of your odysseys can succeed only if you have no fear to live it. When you choose to fight for truth, others will, whatever, assume that you are crazy. Pay no attention to them. Then judge whether you are interested in your ideals or not. And if you are, know what they are. And once you know what they are, you realize then whether you want to fight for them or not. I've discovered that, for instance, I want theater, I want family, I want America, I want collaborations with actors, designers, playwrights, critics, audiences, and dramatic literature. And so I choose to pay the price for whatever outspoken mind I may have and as long as I'm continuing to perfect all of those things. And in the time I've been doing it, there's no question that I have learned to think better than when I was 5 and 6 years old. No question about it. It isn't something that just comes to you and then you use it forever like Channel 5 or 8 on TV. It is a liquid. It's something you have to develop like a muscle. You want to be a great tennis player, for God's sakes, don't judge yourself the first week you're playing. Find out what it is about 9,000 different things you're doing wrong and see if you can fix at least 7,000 of those, which would help a good deal. So for me, I was always interested in people. And I kind of end this last book with a poem by Edwin Markham called The Man with the Hoe. Because when I was a kid, I was fascinated by the idea that there was somebody, a tragic figure in the universe who was a man with the hoe. He was on a farm and he would be working in the soil with his hoe and gazing at it with nothing else going on in his head. All of that had been taken from him. As I said, the Beatles have a song called As Soon as You're Born, they take it away. Instead of giving you all, they give you nothing at all. That's a very serious issue if it's anywhere near the truth. Anyhow, Edwin Markham writes this beautiful poem, Bowed by the Weight of Centuries. He leans upon his hoe and gazes on the ground, the emptiness of ages in his face, and on his back, the burden of the world. Of course, Edwin Markham was talking about something slightly differently than I am. He was basically saying that in the Industrial Revolution, we created a society in which people really basically had to go to work and be slaves in order to work for mass production for the rest of the world, the other 98%. And I think he was correct. There's only one problem. I think at this point in time, we're in the 21st century, and the masses have unionized, and more often than not, they have and are doing the power to keep the other 98% paying for the crap that's coming out of the unions, because the unions are now fighting for this, that, and the other thing, and somebody has to pay for that. So all I'm saying is that somewhere along the line, a human being, therefore, has to be somebody who is able to think all this through. But in order to do that, you can't spend your life just being a slave to other people. You need time to think, to meditate, to read, to discuss. And when you didn't get it already from the society, then if you're sitting next to somebody in the doctor's office or on a bus, talk. You'll see that there are certain people who don't want to do that and don't do it, obviously. If somebody doesn't want to talk to you because they want to be left alone or they're in some other space or they're afraid, you obviously have to honor that. But wherever you can, try to engage people. For me, I suppose growing up in New York City, my favorite of all, I don't know why, was always middle-aged, middle-class black women who were usually single mothers. for whatever reason, for no point of this at all, and nothing political, that's for sure, we would be laughing. We would be laughing. They have a great sense of humor. They see life similarly to me, I suppose, because I grew up in the Fort Greene projects, and therefore we do have something in common. But the fact of the matter is that they're awake. And it's in that awakenedness that I think the world needs and is missing so much. So in any case, if you can, I would recommend that you take a look at all of the books. As I said, they're on Kindle, so they're not going to be difficult for you one way or another. They're by the way, they're very entertaining, I might add. And you'll see that when you go on Amazon, because the people who have left little reviews have pretty much stated what I'm trying to tell you, because they enjoy it. They enjoy it. I've had friends who just simply say to me, it's a page turner. One friend said, I hate your guts. I said, why? He said, because the second book, I wasn't going to read it, and I got in bed, and I thought, let me at least see what it's about. And I found myself with a flashlight through the night reading the entire thing until I was finished. I said, you got to be joking. He said, no. He said, it's a real page turner. And so that's how I guess it reads. I didn't intend anything, nor should you. If you want to tell your story, just begin to drop into a box any little notes. You think of a name when you were a kid, you remember. You think of an incident, you think of a train ride, you think of whatever. Piece of paper, drop it in, forget it. Wake up in the middle of the night with something, a half dream or half thought, drop it in and paste it. Pay no attention. A year or two later, go to the box and then sift through what belongs here, what belongs there. And so in any case, the three books are Brooklyn Odyssey, Tonight I Won't Be Acting. This will pay off, this title, because there's a story about 25 pages in that actually enlightens you as to why I use that title. And Not for Profit, which is that the not-for-profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, that the taxpayers paid for with all the arts and all the humanities and whatever, in my honest, humble opinion, has really only helped those people who got the money. I was one of them. I made a living from it. I'm not complaining, but I am in a sense complaining because I'm saying I don't think we did a good enough job. I think that we, in a sense, screwed up. And so the way to solve the problem is talk to each other. And if you can, begin writing anything. Do not feel that you don't have a right. Never forget the fact that you're born, you're a human being, you have obligations, so therefore you have great rights. Anyhow, let me know. I would love to hear from you. In the event that you go on Amazon, I think you're able to put a comment to me. And if you buy the hard copies and you want me to sign them, I suppose you could ask for that. Just simply ask for that, and then I will be told to sign them. And I will sign them. If you want me to sign it to you in particular, let me know that. If you want to send it as a gift, I suppose, let me know who it's to and maybe what you want me to say, etc. I really don't know, but I'm willing to try anything. More than anything else, however, even if you don't buy any of the books, but we find a way to stay in some form of communication. My email is tonygiord@aol.com, if that helps. I'd love to hear from you. I love talking to you. I wish I could have seen you, but I suppose that's a next step. Thank you.